Good morning. Welcome to Sunnyside Journals. I'm going to talk you through my next pages for my traveler's notebook. I know I promised on Instagram yesterday 3 videos, but when I looked over my videos, I always watch them again in case there needs to be any edit outs. I'm a blurter, and I know I'm a blurter. If it's in my brain, it comes out my mouth, and I know that sometimes I need to go back in and do some little tweaks here and there. So I rewatched. Hold on, I'm gonna have a little. It's very early here. I got up early because I made the decision. Those 3 videos are just chaos in an hour. Hold on. They're just, you know what? They're chaos. I was stopping. I was starting. My phone was ringing. I was sneezing. There was either dust in the air or something in the air. I'm not an allergic person, but I was sneezing. My husband was calling me. I was pausing every once in a while just to hear a little bit of the trial that's going on. Then I had to stop and go to the post office, and then I came back and I had a bite of lunch, and every time I would stop and start, I forgot where I left off. So it was quite repetitious. It was very chaotic. And any new person coming to watch would think, this woman's on something. And it's not just caffeine. So you know what? I decided I'm going to talk you through what I did. And I'm so happy with it. It did end up coming out very nice, I think. But it was challenging for me stopping and starting Nancy's video, and then trying to replicate my own version of it, because of course everyone's got different supplies, and I don't have any genuine old correspondence, things that people have written. I don't have any. I've just never come across it. Now, I must admit, I could probably hunt down in online auctions and that, but you know what? We all work around what we've got and what we don't have, and you make do. So here's the pages that we did before. Just to recap, our center page that I did my little bow up there, and a little bit of Edith in there. Love it. And then here's the next page that I did according to instruction. And again, here's where I made do because I didn't have two-sided scrapbook paper. So I just made my own little collage right here. And there's my little tuck spot made of lace. And I didn't, she had something else to fold over. So I just found a bridge tally sheet. And I used a postcard from Albert Mucha. I'm still butchering it. So here is what I worked on yesterday, and I wish it had worked out all right. And next time I need to just, close my studio door, turn off my phone, and do my work, which is what I'll do later today because I haven't watched Nancy's video yet today. So this is day 2, and she uses scrapbook paper that she has tea dyed. Well, yes, I can do that. So I found this old sheet that actually I had previously tea dyed for another project. So, and inside here it's tea dyed. So now let's remove these. So it's page 33 and page 24 over here. Hold on. There we go. There we go. So she used a sweet little envelope down here from her correspondence. I didn't have any like that, and I thought, well, I can make that. But then I remembered that I have this sheet. I think this is Tim Holtz scrapbook paper. Someone out there will recognize it and let me know down below. I think it's Tim Holtz. I get most of my scrapbook paper just in generic bundles at my thrift store, and this was in it, and it's so beautiful. I'm quite sure it must be his. And I'd already used a postcard from down here, and this one was up here. Or anyhow, so I just cut it out and made it look like a little envelope. And I like how that turned out. So that was my way of sort of recreating a little envelope and turn it into a tuck spot. Now it wasn't as wide. It didn't go the whole width of the paper. I'm all right with that because it still makes a nice little tuck spot. It still looks cute. It's still in the spirit of what my task was for yesterday. I did my little cluster with the little lace and the button and sewing, and I'm very happy with how that turned out anyways. On this side, she makes a little flip with a Ladybird book, which I had. So I went and I actually had I had 2 Ladybird books. So, oh, time for a bit more tea. Hold on. So I picked this picture, and then there's a little cluster up here. So this actually is some Nancy fabric. She, when I was sewing masks a year ago, wow, it's been a year. She very, very generously pre-cut children and adult masks while I was just sewing like a fiend, hour after hour every day. And this is one of the little pieces of fabric that never finished. I didn't go through as many children's masks at the time, from what we knew, because it's always evolving. They weren't initially urging children to be masked, so I didn't go through as much. Anyhow, I liked this, and it had sort of blue. You can't tell because my lace started covering up. There's a tiny little bit of yellow in this fabric, and I like how it mirrored the blues and the yellows in this picture. So that's why I picked a yellow button. I thought it looked cheery. I didn't have a little piece of a handkerchief, so I just used another piece of fabric and folded that, and so that got sewn on there. So I'm happy with how my Ladybird flip out turned out. Now here's my little tuck spot in here. Now here again, I had to recreate my own because I didn't have the label from an old package. And I thought, well, I can make this. Here, let me lift it up so you can take a look. And I thought, I can make one. I can make it look like an old label. So I got some more from my paper bag that I used on my other page. And I cut around the size that I wanted. I folded the edges under. I wanted them a little bit tougher because these are both tuck spots. So I basically folded one side, folded another side, glued it down. And then, of course, I wrinkled and inked and got out some stamps. And there's sort of a blue and a brown here because this pocket is actually vintage wallpaper. Nancy had a lovely vintage paper that she used. So I went and found some of my vintage wallpaper, this stuff. And so because there's sort of some browns and blues here, I went with browns and blue stamps here. And then where she has the label for her address that's on her package, I just recreated it. I simply got out an offcut of tea-dyed paper and, you know, measured it out, ran it off the edge because hers runs off the edge. And then I just got out one of my markers, and that's my writing. I purposefully made it messier. I don't usually write that messy, but I wanted to try and make it look kind of old. So I wrote down just a generic address. Back in the day when towns were small enough, you knew everyone in town, so it was not unusual. Now that I think about it, I do have some correspondence, but it's real because it's my family's. Like I have letters from my great aunts to my grandmother, and it just literally says Liz McKay, Cooksville, Ontario, because Cooksville was small enough that the postman knew where Liz McKay lived in Cooksville. Pardon me. So I decided to just make that generic. I used my other grandmother's name, great-grandmother's name there, and she lived in Newmarket. And then in order to stamp the stamps, to cancel them, I have one of these. These are quite common. You can get them at Michael's and that. I don't like where the signature is. I guess maybe it's the creator of the stamp. I don't like that. So I actually, a couple of years ago, I used an X-Acto blade and just cut it off. And then the little bit that's left here, it just gets mixed in with that stamp. So do that if you don't like that name. If you've got this, a lot of people have it. It's very common. It's a dandy little stamp. So, and I just used it here, and then I did a little leftover over here. Let's do another. No, it's all dry. Okay. I'm really happy with how my fake label turned out. And it threw me off making an underneath tuck. I've never made one of those. This is a real, it's good for me to stretch my comfort zone. So there's that. And then I had to sew around here, and I had to sew around here. Initially, I glued this on wrong. I forgot to tell you. Initially, when I glued this in, I glued it down here and here. So I had to take an X-Acto blade and free that edge up, which I wasn't too worried about when I realized what I had done. I wasn't too worried about it because that's going to be underneath anyways. And then I just glued it over here. And then the sewing went around the edge. Now Nancy did straight sewing all around this edge. But I figured for mine, hold on, let me lift it up. This was such a blank area in the wallpaper that I opted to do a little bit of a zigzag. And then I don't know, I love when you mix up the straight and the zigzags, and then straight again, and then zigzag again. I enjoy that. So I just thought that's what mine's going to have. So I'm really, I think I'm most excited about recreating this to make it look like it's the label that I ripped off of an old package and turned into a tuck spot. And then my little ladybird page flipped out. I'm happy. So there you go. There's my page 24 and 33. Now, we didn't do anything with these pages. So they're just a blank slate ready to go for whenever I keep moving forward with my little traveler's notebook. I'm looking forward to today's episode. I'm going to go downstairs right now. I'm actually still in my jammies, and I'm going to go down and watch Nancy's episode for today, and then I will get working on it. Hopefully, I take my own advice and turn off my phones and lock the door and come up here to my studio and just have some fun and make a traveler's notebook. So thanks for joining me. I apologize if any of you were looking forward to 3 episodes. Honest to goodness, there was an hour and 15 minutes of something that should have taken 30 minutes. And it was mostly me just coming back on and saying, okay, I'm back. Now, where was I? And like, it could be a game with shots, how many times I said that. And you have to take a shot. It was bad. So that's it. That's for today. A little walkthrough. Here, let me just show yesterday's. There we go. A little walk. Oh, wait. See, I'm talking too much again. My things that go in. So Nancy put in a receipt. I'm going to sneeze. Oh my goodness, this episode is quickly turning into yesterday. The sneezing has started. And I know the sneezing is because I've disturbed this room so many times in the past 2 weeks. So Nancy put a receipt in hers. And I thought, yes, I've got some old receipts. So there's that. That's good. I didn't have the other sheet that she put in. So I had this little grocery list. So I thought the grocery list, that's something that somebody might keep in their traveler's notebook. So I put that in there. Now over here, she put a couple of catalog cards from a library. And I only have a few of those. I think I have 10 total. So I was only willing to part with one for my traveler's notebook. So I've got my catalog, card catalog library for a library. Put that in there. So instead of having a second one of those, I raided my collection of ladies' recipe cards. I've lucked in. I found about 3 old recipe boxes that belonged to someone. They've got handwritten recipes and glued down recipes. They're just lovely. And so this is from, I'm not sure whose it was. Usually their names were Edna or Bernice. And so cheesy vegetable dip is going in. In you go, cheesy vegetable dip. And then she also included an accounting card. So, and I do have accounting cards, but I found this one and I opted to use this one. It's for birders that keep an eye on nests, wild nests. So, from the Royal Ontario Museum. So I thought that was fun. And so that's going in instead of an accountant's card. So there we go. That's better. Boy, you'd think I had a little gin in my tea at this time of day. There, now I really am done. So thanks for joining me. And I will try harder today not to be so scatterbrained. You'd think I still had 5 children running around the house that I homeschooled. It's just me. I'll get it done somehow or other. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you're staying safe and that you're staying healthy. And we'll talk again soon, I hope. Bye.